one thing we all know about periods is that they make women crazy, making us moody, unstable, and liable to eat all of the chocolate around us within a 2-mile radius. Right? Or am I just on my period? According to one statistic, 75% of women who get their periods experience some form of premenstrual mood swings and or physical discomfort, all of which goes under the umbrella of premenstrual syndrome, or PMS. PMS is essentially an umbrella term for a group of symptoms that tend to occur in the week or two leading up to your period. Or that time of the month if you don't prefer the P word. The precise nature and intensity of PMS is going to vary from woman to woman and month to month. Generally speaking, the kinds of symptoms associated with it include acne, bloating, trouble sleeping, fatigue, joint pain, back pain, headaches, irritability, mood swings, anxiety, depression, or what I just like to call general topsy-turviness of the brain and body. But for all we think we know about PMS, to the point that we consider it a given that women will be irritable and moody around their periods, we don't actually know all that much about it. And I quote from the National Institutes of Health: "The exact cause of PMS has not been identified. Changes in brain hormones may play a role, but this has not been proven. Women with premenstrual syndrome may also respond differently to these hormones." That said, hormones are not necessarily PMS-making destiny. One 2003 study compared women's retrospective self-reports on crying and found that during that time, yes, women say that they tend to cry more in the days leading up to their periods. However, when they had a group of women actually keep 2 menstrual cycles worth of daily crying diaries to track whether they actually were crying in real time, there was no correlation between proneness to cry, as the study authors called it, and your period. The study concluded, rather it seems more likely that the fluctuations in self-reported crying are based on implicit theories about the relationship between the menstrual cycle, mood, and crying. Aha! Similarly, a 2012 study out of the University of Toronto concluded that PMS, wait for it, might not even exist. That conclusion was reached after the researchers went back and looked at 41 past studies tracking women's mood changes over their menstrual cycles. Ooh. Of those 41 studies, only 6 found any relationship whatsoever between negative mood changes and being premenstrual. Rather, what the researchers think is going on is that there is so much negative and tabooed cultural baggage even surrounding our periods, and such an expectation that women leading up to their periods will be irritable and moody and experience anxiety and depression, that it almost becomes this kind of menstrual self-fulfilling prophecy to where we expect once a month to feel terrible and therefore we will. Periods might get a bad rap for being the instigators of our horrible moods, when these researchers say there are so many other factors that play into how we feel. There is something called premenstrual dysmorphic disorder, which is a recognized clinical mood disorder associated with women's menstrual cycles that does affect around 3 to 6% of the female population. But for women at large, accepting and even internalizing the stereotype of PMS being this necessary mood swinging juggernaut that happens once every 28 days might be kind of unnecessary. I have a feeling this is probably controversial information, so let's start a conversation about it in the comments below.